Welcome back to another episode of the Austin Downbeat. This is our fourth episode. Here we go with the weekly rundown. So this covers the week of March 15th through the 21st, which covers a whole week of South by Southwest. So that being said, there are so many shows, so I'm not going to do like a typical rundown today. I am going to suggest that you follow your favorite artists on Instagram because they're all posting where their shows are, and it's a lot. And also you can go on sxsw.com and find your favorite artists there. And then also there you can kind of figure out if you need a badge or not, because that's probably the most confusing part of South by Southwest, is deciding if you can get in or not. So definitely do that. A couple shows that I pulled out that stood out and that were easy to find. Willie Nelson, his tickets are on sale for his live from Luck. That show's on the 20th of this week. Judas Priest is at HEB Center in Cedar Park. I thought that was interesting, on the 20th as well. Alejandro Escovedo is playing at the Continental Club on the 20th. And one of my favorites, gonna get him on the show, DZ Brown, such a great guy and so fun to watch. He's at the Continental Club on the 20th as well. Two more. Pat Byrne, he's going to be on the show next week, so be sure to tune in for his interview. He is at the Austin Monthly's Bands to Watch at Still ATX on the 18th at 2:30. And then last one, Eric Tesmer, so fun to watch as well. He's playing at Cooper's Barbecue, put on by KLBJ, on the 16th, which is well, when you see this, it'll be the next day, Tuesday, the 16th. So that is the rundown. The lighting is very weird today. Let's get into my guest for this episode. Dan Navarro. You know him as one half of Lowen and Navarro, very famous singing songwriting duo. They wrote We Belong, that Pat Benatar made quite famous. I hear it all the time. So super talented Dan is. He's also a very accomplished voice actor. And when you see him in this interview and you listen to him talk, you can get that feeling from him. He's very animated. He's very, very good on an interview. He most recently did some singing on a very kind of a breakout Disney movie called Encanto, Oscar nominated, and sang on multiple songs on that movie. And one of the breakout songs, it was a bit of a surprise, is called We Don't Talk About Bruno. You've probably heard people talking about We Don't Talk About Bruno. And then ironically, Bruno, the character, looks just like Dan. It's quite funny. Anyway, we talk about that. We talk about just kind of how he rolls through this business and this life and the life that he's created for himself. He's sort of constantly on tour and super fun to follow around the country. He has a very dedicated fan base called the Dan Fam. Hello to the Dan Fam. He gives a nice shout out to you guys. He has a new record coming that he made with Jim Scott. It's called Horizon Line. So we talk about that. Lots of philosophy, lots of life lessons. It's a longer interview, but it was really fun to make. He's one of my favorite people. I know I say that a lot, but he is really just an absolute joy. So enjoy my talk with Dan Navarro. Welcome to the Austin Downbeat. This week's guest is someone near and dear to my heart. I think I've said that every week, but everyone is so special that's coming on. My guest today is Dan Navarro. I want to tell you a little bit about him. I don't want to talk about him too much. I want to talk to him for most of this time, but he's best known as one half of the beloved Lowen Navarro singing songwriting duo. with hits like We Belong that Pat Benatar famously covered. Most recently, though, he sang on the Disney Oscar nominated for Best Animated Feature Encanto, with songs written by Manuel-Miranda. Hello. One of these songs is kind of stood, that's the right tense, has been standing out. And it's called We Don't Talk About Bruno. Ironically, Bruno looks just like Dan. We can talk about that. I think maybe not at the time that this episode airs, but I think as we sit here today, that song sits at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. So while we might not talk about Bruno, we are definitely going to talk about Dan Navarro. Welcome to the show, my special friend. Thank you for coming on.
It is so cool to see you. At least you've been trying to. My schedule certainly has taken me everywhere. I've been traveling more than I've ever traveled, and I'm having a pretty wonderfully busy period. Encanto was a surprise. I've done quite a few movies as a singer and as a voice actor, as a character, and as just doing noises, ADR. And this didn't seem like it was any different than any of the other sessions. You sing the session, you say, thank you, you go. The movie was number 1 at Thanksgiving, and that I kind of expected. No one expected chart success. We Don't Talk About Bruno's 3 weeks at number 1. The album is the number 1 album in the country for the 5th straight week.
That's insane.
And it's a juggernaut. I mean, we're talking 200 million streams so far. And We Don't Talk About Bruno is not the song they thought was going to hit. They submitted the ballad, the Disney ballad called Dos Oruguitas, 2 Little Caterpillars, for the Oscars. And it's nominated for Oscar for Best Song. Bruno's the breakout hit. It's Disney's first number 1 since A Whole New World in 1992 for Aladdin. It's the first time a song has been number 1 for 3 weeks and the album number 1 for 3 weeks in 26, 27 years. It's a juggernaut. It's a movement. It's also pretty incredible because it celebrates, first of all, Afro-Colombian culture. It's set in Colombia. It celebrates an ordinary person who's in a family of exceptional people, yet she, in her ordinary way, is the one who saves the family from disaster. It's a really beautiful, beautiful movie and a movie of empowerment. I think it's going to be an inspiration for girls and an inspiration for people of color. Never mind that it's just an amazing story that actually draws in some ways heavily from the magical realism of Gabriel Garcia Marquez and the 100 Years of Solitude. There are butterfly themes throughout it. It's a very, very special movie. There was a wonderful article I read about a young woman in Colombia who was called upon to show them around and kind of become the cultural consultant. Well, she looks an awful lot like Mirabel. And so it's really doing some amazing things. I cannot tell you how proud I am to be involved in it.
I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for this movie. So you and I talked about, I think you and I were on the phone one time and you mentioned that you had to travel back to LA to do this work.
I was on the road in the Midwest and I had a show in Valparaiso, Indiana, and 2 days later had a show in Chicago, and I flew home on a Monday off, 6 a.m. flight, landed at 9, in the studio at noon, out of the studio at 8, back on the red eye at 11 to go back and pick up the tour. But this is how we roll. It's part of what I try to teach, if that's the right word, to younger people and people. I do workshops and lectures and classes because they all want to know, how did you make it? And I don't have any idea. I open this thing saying, here's how I made it. But I think that you can attest from your own efforts with all the stuff that you've done. You put energy behind energy and ideas behind the energy as well. And you just show up and you swing away. If you say to yourself at any point, it's too much trouble, it's too hard, then it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But if you sit there and go, okay, I'm going to get home at 1, I'll be out the door at 4, I'll sleep on the plane, I'll make sure I'll take a shower when I get to my house. You just do it.
You make it
and
work. Yeah.
you make it work. And that's how the really great things happen. Because otherwise I would have said, I'm on the road, I have concerts, I'm unavailable.
Mhm.
And that just didn't, no, man,
Well,
no.
let me ask you a question, because there was a point where you, I mean, even though it's you and even though you know how to work this, and of course you were going to say yes and you're going to make it work, but even still, there's a moment for you where you do have to vocalize the decision that you're going to make. So I have to
You,
assume there's a moment before you vocalize, yes, I'm going to do this. What is the thought in your mind?
you know me all too well, my friend, because I said, God, I'm on the road. I can't do it. I have a concert the night before and one 2 days later. What are you saying? Of course I can do it. But I actually said, oh God, I'm on the road. I'm not really available. It was that really qualifier, but I'm not really available. But
Could
what am
be.
I saying? Of course I'm going to do it. And what he said to me was, well, I really hope you can do it. You know, the composer and I go, how do they even know about me? And then it dawned on me, oh my God, this is going to be Jermaine Franco. Now, Lin-Manuel-Miranda wrote the songs, Jermaine Franco did the score. But the last time I worked with Jermaine was on Coco, where Michael Giacchino wrote the score, and Jermaine wrote two of the songs, Proud Corazon and Un Poco Loco. She didn't write Remember Me, that won the Oscar. That was the Lopez couple that did Frozen.
Mm-hmm.
But I've known Jermaine for many years. We worked together on things. She once got me to do a demo for Remember Me for the Coco, and I flew home from Chicago, did it, turned around and went back, and she called me and said, you're not going to get it. I ended up getting 2 choral sessions on it, and I did the songs. So she knows how I roll. So as soon as Antonio Sol, the contractor who also sang, said, they really love you, and went, oh my God, this is Jermaine. And you show up for the people that have shown you grace. You know, I've done these sessions where I've flown home at my own expense and have zeroed out on the fee. I spent once for Dora the Explorer, Dora the City of Lost Gold. I spent every dime that I made on airfares and parking and Ubers. But I get the residuals, I get the crediting toward my health insurance and my pension. And that contractor knows when they ring the bell, I will jump. And that's really why you get hired.
Yeah.
You've got a skill set before they even call you. They don't call you to see if you will work out. They already know this guy's good. You know, I've worked with him before. And if you say, I can't do it, then they're going to move on next time.
Yeah.
So it's just part of how I roll. And I've had some amazing experiences that way. And there's a certain, I'll be honest, there's a certain romance to sitting there and in the airplane going, I'm flying home for 20 hours just to do a session in a film.
I love that. Like,
You know?
I will rally for stuff like that because that's excitement. And I think it tethers back to your point of like the momentum behind and just figuring it out and making something work. If it's tethered to something that's pure and authentic, because this is clearly what you love to do. I mean, there's no question that you're super happy and satisfied and fulfilled because it's just pouring out of you in every facet, and it's contagious, and I love it. And I think that's why you and I became such fast friends.
Instant friends. But it is how we roll. I mean,
yeah.
You know, I've seen you do it in your own career. You know, you spoke to me about the earliest stages of the Austin Downbeat, and I've seen it develop, and this is still early stages, but this is where you go. This is how you work. And it's how the people that I've had the best time with, the people I find to be the most successful, and it has nothing to do with monetary gain. It has everything to do with getting the call when the red light is on. You know, if you want somebody that's going to deliver, that you draw from a certain roster of people that you know. And you're one, frankly. I mean, I'm grateful to be one. It is fun. I've wanted this my whole life, and I get to do it. And I mean, I was talking on the phone with Carlos Murguia, who is a guy that I've done a lot of sessions with over the years. He got the call about 2 months before I did, and he sang one line. You know, he sang in Bruno. He told me my head would fall out and look at my head. oh, and then we all sing, oh no. My friend Layla Hoyle, who's Peruvian, Layla Oile, sang, he told me my fish would die the next day, dead. Antonio said, he said I'd grow a gut, and look at what he said. And then Carlos went, he said my head would fall out the next day. Look at my head. They got the shot. They got the shot to swing away. But there's another aspect to all of that. These are my friends. They got calls I didn't get. I didn't get asked to do a solo. I'm happy for them. I'm proud of them. I'm excited for them. Sitting, I wish it was me. No jealousy, no weirdness. You support your friends, you wish them well, and you will get all the calls you need. And that's been played now since I started doing this work. What is now in June going to be 34 years. And so here we go. The big secret is I wasn't 20 when I got those first calls. Just say it and you can do the, and it's all up there. I'm rapidly becoming the oldest guy with dark hair in the world, but that's
oh no, you just don't have gray hair, do you?
I just don't have it. And we've had, gosh, I think we not hard to figure out how old I am. I don't hide it. I'm not
doesn't matter.
I'm not going to say the number out loud. 6 months from a big birthday, but
wow.
All this is to say, we get to do this. Yeah. I know, and look, you're an actor. We've talked about this before. We know lots of actors who are bitter and angry and resentful of their other friends' success and resentful of the calls they don't get. And we audition and get rejected all the time. I was talking to a friend the other day, did an audition for a film to do a part. I auditioned to do a sound-alike for Javier Bardem. And I've done that in 2 other movies. Well, I had to learn how to talk like him. And it was, the problem. I had learned to do the thing with the mouth. Right. So she sends me a note saying, so what'd you find out? I went, nothing. Well, they don't call you up and go, hey, I just want to tell you didn't get it. It's waiting for the second date of your entire life. And they're going, when you audition, and you never hear, oh God, he didn't call back. But that's the job. And if you learn to be resilient through it, you learn something from every audition, whether you get the gig or not. Mm-hmm. And it really teaches you how to accept life on its own terms and how to keep trying and how not to become discouraged. Unsuccessful actors are actors who simply couldn't stomach the rejection, not the ones who never got the gig because they didn't hang in until they did get the gig.
It's like you have to be attached to the experience, not the outcome. And correct. I know that that's hard. I think that that's really easy to sit here and say, I don't audition anymore. I am done acting. But I remember being in that and really understanding what it calls you to participate in. And you have to get that balance of just finding a way to not be attached to the outcome. And it's not modeled in a way where that's super easy or like that's the way that it's presented to you as the talent. You're very much attached to the outcome. Did I get it? Can I pay my rent? Right?
Well,
can I buy health insurance?
I have a phrase that I've used for a few years now that I'm not attached to income or outcome. But the thing is, the thing is, it does keep you honest about your work. And I'm not naive. You're absolutely right. It's heartbreaking. It's frustrating. We try and it doesn't work. I won't use the word. I won't use the F word. I won't say fail. We try and it doesn't work out the way we want it to. But that is the lesson. Yes. The lesson in life. And when we're younger, we go, I should have gotten that. And I was that guy. I was the guy who would get jealous if somebody else got something or be really disappointed when something didn't work out. It didn't help me none. I think that's really the thing, is it didn't help me none. And then all of a sudden I did an audition for the Book of Life in 2014. And I did the audition in a casting director's office. And I walked out of there going, well, you just booted that one. That one ain't going to happen. He goes, I need for you to be mean. So I'm going, they go, I need it. Let's just say, I want you to be the meanest guy ever I want you to scare me. And I poured it on. And I left going, you so are not going to get this one. And I got it. They didn't call me for a month,
Yeah.
which means for 29 days, actually really for about 2 days. And then you put it out of your head. And all of a sudden my agent called and said, hey, that thing you did for Book of Life, you got it. Let's go. So
Yeah. You
these
kind of have
lessons.
to always be like, next. I remember
Yes.
someone coming in and speaking. I was in a master's class, back when I was acting, and I used to leave that class just so pissed. I mean, it was like the best therapy. And my coach would know when I was totally pissed, because I would not even say goodbye. I would just like pick up my stuff and leave, because it would trigger so much. But I remember someone coming into that class to like, teach us something kind of outside of what we would normally get. And I remember them just going, next, like, you have
It's
to
true
move
though.
on, do the
You have
audition,
to move
stop
on.
thinking about it, and move on to what's next.
And you have to, but we learn this. You and I have both faced success and frustration and fear and joy and loss, all of these things. And you learn to process it. You learn to eat it up and spit it out. Learn from it, absorb what there is from it to teach you something. And every unfortunate situation does. So you kind of can get to a point where you sort of look at things and go, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay. And it's not, I'm great. I'm okay. So right now I'm having a blast. It started, there's an arc for the last couple of years. I was the busiest touring wise I had ever been when we shut down 2 years ago. I mean, I had 17 flight legs between January and the first weekend of March.
Wow.
And then the guillotine came down and everything went away. I didn't know what to do, but I go, maybe I'll just stream. And I did a song. Then the next day I did 30 minutes, and the next day I did an hour, and it turned into daily practically for 5 months. Then it turned into 3 days a week, and something happened. New people started getting interested, a new way of generating attention and connection and value to an audience, to a community, erupted that I'd never planned. And a crowd. I mean, you're familiar with the Dan fam, and they're out there. And,
I am. Do you want to give a little shout out to your Dan?
Shout out to the Dan fam TM, especially to La Madre Deborah Ewing, who put it all together. And wonderful people that I get to see now at my shows. They get together to have dinner with each other before shows. It ain't all about me. They've made friends with one another. Yeah. But that sort of said that in the midst of this really bad period, when I could get frustrated and angry, I didn't. I was in a relationship that ended in the middle of it, because that's, the pressure was on, and we didn't make it. I ate a lot of ice cream, and I'm still grappling with what I put on, but you found ways through it. We all deal with fear and loss and frustration and all of that. But the important part is that if you take from it the lesson that there is value, not always good, but value in everything, then you're going to be just fine. And what winds up happening, you hit a point in your life where trouble comes, and you kind of go, I've seen this before. I'm cool.
Yeah, I know how to do it.
I know how to do this. Exactly right. Well, then what happens, and I think then something sparks inside you that when someone else sees, they go, ooh, I want to be around this. This person is calm. This person is at peace. This person is centered. They're finding joy in everything. I mean, you and I made friends very, very quickly. But I sense that same thing in you, that you're going to find the good in situations. And maybe.
And I think with someone like you and people that are in the public eye, what a gift it is for you to, in your own life, because you're just a person, just like everybody else. And, I mean, you're very special, and you're also just a person, and you have gone through this journey, and you happen to be in the public eye, and you happen to have this relationship with yourself and the bigger picture, and you have a microphone in front of you, and you get to teach people and influence people in this way. It's just such a bonus, like the icing on the Dan cake.
Well, thank you. It's been multiple lessons over the years, and I remember the times where I wasn't very good to myself as life was playing out, when I would be caught up in hubris or attitude or fear, a lot of fear. Um, I tried to keep away from envy and bitterness, but Lord knows I get disappointed, and I've made some of the worst choices in the world.
Join the club.
Yeah, but again, they make great stories. They're fun to
Yes,
laugh
great
about.
songs.
Exactly. Well, believe me, some of my, I mean, I've got a new song that I'm getting together with some singers to do on the record. And I said, it's not a typical Dan Navarro song. Nobody bleeds, nobody dies, nobody gets hurt. There's no sadness, there's no loss.
What?
It's just a giant entreaty that when times are tough, come and find me. I'll be right there for you. And
Oh.
people are going like, hey, you're writing about something different. Well, life is better than it used to be. I'm making fewer dumbass decisions.
Isn't
So
it interesting? It's so interesting. I mean, I have talked at this point to so many creative people and writers and songwriters especially, and that's just kind of the way that it goes. I mean, that pain and the drama and chaos and all those things. If you're paying attention and if you have the writer's mind and if you're kind of keyed into that frequency,
yep,
you can pull so much gold out of that pot,
it's
and then
really true.
share it with people via song.
It's true. And those are the stories. I look at this movie, Encanto has, first of all, it's visually really stunning.
It
The
is.
choreography is amazing. The music's amazing. The colors
Mhm.
and the animation, but there's a dark story in there. And
Mhm.
it's out of the darkness that the emergence happens that brings us to a sense of redemption. If everything in our lives is good from the moment we come out, where's the redemption? And that's
Mhm.
actually, I've known a few people that have lived those lives and they're dull as can be. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, you kind of everything's really going well for you. Well, yeah. Born
Boring.
born rich and inherited a lot of money, got cum laude from Wharton, and I'm doing really fine. But then but then you get home and they, abuse pets or something like that. I mean, there's something really, again, there's always a yin and a yang. But
Yeah.
I look for the good in people. I look for the good in situations. And I am, you know, I'm seldom disappointed. I'm not naive by any stretch. I'm pretty realistic. But given half a chance, it's an incredibly beautiful life, and people will surprise you at how they're able to, sometimes in spite of themselves, dig goodness and light out of their own nonsense. And it does amuse me no end, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I find humor in life. I just saw something. Let's just say a prominent, extremely conservative congressperson was talking about Nancy Pelosi's gazpacho tactics, and because she's making cold tomato soup. What's up?
How dare
It's
you?
yeah, it's a very well known, newly elected conservative um, House of Representatives
That's
representative
funny.
who was talking about
Gazpacho.
yeah, her
I love it on a
gazpacho.
hot day. It's
Believe me, me too. But doesn't the waiter doesn't come in a brown shirt and wrap my knuckles or anything like that. But we live in a silly, silly world, and it's getting sillier all the time. And
yeah.
there is darkness in the world. So I'm going to go for the light, and I'm going to
Yeah.
laugh my head off, and I'm going to make other people laugh, and I'm going to be around light people who have that sense about them, and I'm going to love the living daylights out of them. That's my
Yeah.
story, and I'm sticking to it, man.
I love it. I love it. So you teased us a little bit. You said something about a new record and new music. So
Yes,
talk
yes.
about that. What's happening?
I started a record in the middle of last year, and then I knocked it on the head in August to go on the road. I went back to my old producer who did the first 5 Low and Navarro records between 90 and 98. Then we stopped working with him for 10 years, and we did our final record with him. His name is Jim Scott, 7-time Grammy winner, engineered Tom Petty's Wildflowers, won Grammys for the Dixie Chicks. I mean, and it's not like just a thing. He's produced Wilco and
Mm.
the Courtyard Hounds and Dixie Chicks, and worked with the Foo Fighters, and worked with Santana and Sting and Petty and Robbie Robertson and the Bodines
Wow.
and us.
So he kind of knows what he's
He
doing.
kind of knows what he's doing. He's my age, and we haven't worked together in 13 years. And I made a great record last time with Steve Postel producing, from the guitar player from the Immediate Family, wonderful guitar player and producer. And I love the record I made with him. But I wanted to do something different. And part of me wanted to go back to Jim
Mhm.
We would make records fast. I did 2 sets of sessions 6 months ago, but we've only worked for 12 days.
Mm.
And we just traded notes today. We've got another 10 days we're going to work together when I get home from this road trip, and that'll be it. And it'll be
Nice.
done. It's got some of my favorite songs I've ever written.
Mm.
And it does speak very distinctly to the kind of philosophy you and I are talking about. The album's called Horizon Line,
Mm.
essentially saying, I can't slow down. My wheels are turning. I'm not hanging on a dollar sign. I'm going to set my sights on the next horizon line.
Mm.
What's coming up next? That's really cool. That was great. What's next?
Right.
Yeah, I've had a wonderful time. Great. What's next? And I want
Yeah,
to know,
I love
and
it.
that's where I'm going. I don't want to rest on my laurels or sit down and navel gaze too much about. I want to enjoy it. I'll laugh all the way to the next
Next thing.
horizon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and bring my people with me, my family, my friends, my loved ones, and that applies to fans. I mean, I don't get I don't get inappropriately close to them, but I know them better than a lot of people do their own, because first of all, they keep me going and we keep each other going. So we've gotten to know each other pretty well. I'll see
Mhm.
somebody after a show and I go, how's your kid doing? Out of college now? Or is it third year? Is that right? What is it? God, I
Wow.
remember that stuff. But
Sweet.
it's it's what it's a couple of songs of there are 3 songs on the record about the same very short relationship. That did not go well, and one of them is wistful, and the other one is actually a little sort of like, dude, step away from the razor blades, dude. And the
Mm.
other one is quite angry and sort of like, you tricked me.
Mm.
Is the that one's called Tar Pit. I stepped into a tar pit. Water looked real. The
Wow.
but then there's one that's a kind of based on just sensing what this meant to me at the time, but realizing that it was, made of sand. It wasn't
Yeah.
real. And the realization that it wasn't real kind of leads to me like, okay, now I got to process this sucker. Now what?
Mm.
And that one, I mean, it has a bridge line: time like a freight train, time like a hurricane, blowing down everything that stands in its way. And that's what
Mm.
time does, but they say that time heals all, but there's just no cure for remembering.
Mm.
So I've had my moments in it, but there's some beautiful stuff in it. My friend Deborah Holland and I wrote a song called Circling the Drain. She said, I want to write a song with you to this music you created called Circling the Drain. That's a really terrible title. I hate that title. It's Circling the Drain. Why don't you just write a song called Death? Or, you know, and she said, no, really, check this out. And she sent it to me and I went, wow, this is beautiful. It's an ultimately, the notion being, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
So let's be good while
Mm.
we're here. Let's spend the time connecting with
Mhm.
love and support. And while we're here, let's, you can try so hard you're spinning. We've got this time on earth. Let's use it for all it's worth. And
Mhm.
amen. Thank you, Deborah Holland.
Mm.
And there's a song on it called Come Around that I wrote when I was 21 years old.
Wow.
And I played it in a show right before shutdown in the beginning of 2020 in 2 shows. And the people just went, we don't care when you wrote it. We love it.
Mhm.
God.
Was there a moment where you kind of thought, well, I wrote this, when I was 21, so
I still hear immaturity in it, but
really?
but I get what it's about. And it's a song that uses a device of the months of the year uh,
Mm.
to talk about someone who is not being her honest self,
Mm.
and how I was at the time saying, let me help. I'm here. I want to help you figure this out. And I wrote 26 songs about this woman.
Wow.
And
Fruitful.
a couple of them very, we don't even speak. So we won't get into that, but and some of them have been recorded, but this one was one that I loved. And I just decided to bring it out in a show one day. And it so resonated for people that I thought,
Mm.
you've kept this under wraps for too long. Time to dust it off and give it a home. And it's in, and it sounds wonderful. I'm really happy
Oh,
with
I can't wait to hear it.
it. Well, I know I've sent you a couple things. I'll say more, and we're going to
Yeah.
get finished. We're going to get this baby finished.
What's the ETA on it?
ETA is midsummer to late summer. There's a
Nice.
couple of things going on. I'm kind of aiming for an August release. I should
Yeah.
have it finished by the end of April. And then I'm working with digital a digital aggregator, a woman named Stacy Taylor, who basically says, will you let me handle this one now? Or are you going to tell me 2 weeks after you put it out that you put it out? Will you let me determine? And so she's determining the street date. She's going to waterfall a couple of singles before we get to whatever the meat is. And it will do what it does. Again, divorce from income or outcome, but I'm going to do it right. And I feel really strongly about it. Whether I make a record this way again or not, I don't know. There's a Spanish record in me someplace.
Mm-hmm.
And, I did a show last week on Whim. I met a guy in Minneapolis who plays karaoke piano bar. I was in there with some friends. So he had some Sinatra in there. And I said, let's do a couple of these songs. And we clicked and it went very well. So I said, man, it'd be really cool if we just did an all Sinatra show here in Minneapolis. Well, he calls me back and he goes, you want to do that? I found
You have a tuxedo?
Well, I don't know if have you seen the pictures? Okay, so yeah, I'm wearing a blinking tux in this thing. Well, there's a story behind the tux, but and again, this is how Dan rolls. This is how. Oh God, I can't believe I spoke myself in the third. This is how I roll. And we booked the show 1 week before showtime. We did not have a month or two of lead time. We basically said, this is happening at the University Club in St. Paul. Andrew Crowley on piano. I'll be doing only Sinatra, nothing else, none of my songs. And I brought my tux. I left LA and I realized over 100 miles out, you brought only the jacket and the tie. And you left the shirt and the pants at home.
Oh no, Dan.
So I'm calling up. Yeah, can I buy a pair of, tux? Yeah, tux pants, no problem. $150 and $65 for a tux shirt and about $70 for the studs. And I'm going, I own this stuff already. I don't want to do that. So I went to Walmart, which is not one of my favorite stores. And I bought a $22 pair of black slacks and a $12 white dress shirt. And I took a Sharpie and I colored the buttons black so it would look like studs.
And that's how we roll.
That's how we roll. This is exactly
it.
right. So I wound up making it work for $40 because I bought a belt too, because the pants were going to fall off. But it went remarkably well. I mean, to the point where people are going, do it again, do it again, do it again.
Fun.
Do I want to be known as a Sinatra impersonator? No. Will I do it again? Yeah. Oh God, yeah. Because I want to do the unexpected. I want to have fun.
I was going to say, did you have fun? It sounds like you did. Yeah. So that's what we want to watch you do. Like we want to watch you have a great time.
And I went to Andrew and I said, learn this song. This is not a normal one. And he's doing a swing. And I'm singing, and we don't talk about Bruno. No. We don't talk about Bruno. And I even worked in, we don't talk about Dino.
That's great.
The freewheeling aspect of it, I'm absolutely going to do it again. And I'll bring my pants this time. But, the thing is that there are no limitations. There's opportunities. Yeah. And, I don't know. I mean, do I take myself so seriously that I can't do something like that? No. I mean, I'm going to do the best Sinatra vocal I can do. I'm not going to, it's not parody. It's not Bill Murray doing Star Wars.
Right.
It's going to be as straight up as I can make it. And I, talk to the people and I would lead into the songs, sort of, well, I bought this shirt and I Sharpied up the buttons, but at the end of the day, when I really needed to get it done, I did it my way. And then we went into my way.
That's perfect.
Now, a couple of people who were there, there were songs that I didn't expect to be moving. And one of them was, It Was a Very Good Year, which I've never sung in my life. What an amazing story of a person reflecting on their stages when they were filled with hubris and then they were filled with willfulness. And then they start to ponder. And do you reach the autumn of your years with regrets? Hopefully not. But you do sort of look at it and go, okay, I've got more years behind me than ahead of me. How do I want to spend my time?
Yeah.
The important thing for me is I don't do anything I don't want to do. I do only what I want to with people I care about.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. And sometimes I do things I don't want to do for people I care about, because then I really do want to do them.
Yeah.
It's not, and that's how that time is spent and how we connect to the real essence of our lives, which is we've got nothing but time and there's nothing between us except connection.
Yeah.
Then that becomes it. As far as I'm concerned, that's it.
Yeah. I think sometimes we just get in our own way and we forget that we have 25 choices in any given moment on how we respond. And sometimes we just get so patterned and used to choosing a certain thing, whether it was because we were taught that when we were young and we just never asked enough questions to think that we had another choice, or we stayed where we grew up, or, whatever the reason. But I always want people, and this is what I teach my children, is that you have 25 choices in this moment of how you're going to respond. So let's talk it out, because I never want them to feel like they don't have a choice, and that they can't do something that they don't know that they have, so many options.
Right.
So
I was fortunate to have a kind of relationship with my son, who's now 25, almost 26. And I've said to him from the time he was a little boy, find what you love and you love. And I basically said, dude, it's as simple as this: inheritance. You're not going to be wealthy, but you're going to do fine. So don't just do whatever for the money. Don't do whatever because someone's telling you to do it. Find what you love, work hard, and you'll work harder and chase it down. He's done very, very well. He's done remarkably well. He's 25. He's been working in television for the last 2 years and worked for an agency before that. And he's got 8 weeks left on his job at HBO before he probably has to move on. And then it's a challenge.
Next.
But he's been next. Well, here we go with next.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, you're going to be fine. If you get into trouble, I'll help. But truth told is he's been very smart about his time and money and things like that. The bottom line is the main thing I talk to him about is, here's what I don't hear when you make your decisions, Joe. I don't hear fear. I don't hear dread. So just look at it, take your best shot. I'll back you up. And he hasn't needed my help a lot. He's been very smart about how he's done things. And I know there have been frustrations, and he suffered a loss a year ago that was painful for him, and he's learned from it, but all this is to say that this is how we roll. You and I have kids, and we teach them how to use their opportunities, not just how to use time, but what comes from the use of an opportunity in a particular way. Yeah. There are times when doing absolutely nothing is really productive. If it gives you the opportunity to ponder and to absorb and to take that breath to say, okay, great, what does this all mean? And so in some ways, there really are no bad decisions. I mean, I've made every bad decision there is to make, but I look at them as being of value.
Oh, for sure.
And especially, we come back to this as I look at the bad decisions that led to 3 songs, and I finally realized, okay, so what's the consistent thread here? I think it's you, dude.
Look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror, exactly. And instead of using that to self-immolate or to gut myself as you're worthless, you're a loser. No, it's like, okay, are you done? Did you get it now? How about, okay, you there? Good. Now let's get lunch. Come on.
Yeah.
It's been a wild, wonderful ride. Having a good time, and can't wait till I can get to Austin and
I know
we've been talking about for a while.
Yeah, we have. We can definitely
You got this great
get our
new
calendars
show
out. I know. I'm
this
so
new show. I want to know how it's going. I'm going to interview you for a second here.
It's going. So obviously when this airs, it will have already launched, but as we sit here today, I'm 6 days out from launching, and I'm really excited. And, you know, you were talking about sometimes just sitting in quiet and not doing something is really, really beneficial. And that's where this show was born, in that space of time, leaving my last show, feeling those feelings, really honing in and paying attention to what I loved and what I missed, and what can I create from me as the nucleus and center, and why am I doing it? Because I care so much about people like you. I really feel like people that write, sing, entertain, create, they just are our healers for this experience on earth and in this life. And I really want to shine a light on people like you. I really want to support and just encourage and just be on the sideline shining that light on you guys. So this is all for you and my guests, and it's my little part, I guess, of the big machine of just making sure that people know who you are and what you're doing and why you're doing it, and how they can support musicians and people in their local cities, and not just necessarily Austin. It's really important to me. And that's what I miss the most, is just connecting with people that do the kinds of things that you do. So.
Well, I think the thing that people are going to get from the show, I mean, we're not at launch yet. And by the time they see this, it's already launched. So those of you who are listening, what you need to know is this person has the ability to see what is worth shining a light on. Because that's where you'll find the good stuff. You know, it's not even just about, hey, I'm cool. It's really the consistency of the people that she populates her life with. I'm going to talk about you like you're not here. The people that she populates her life with, the story she chooses to tell, the light she chooses to shine. And every good piece of music starts with a downbeat.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a blast. I'm really grateful to be on here.
Thank you. It means a lot to have you on. It really does. And if I can't have you here in Austin face to face, then this is the very next best thing. So,
well, it will happen. I've been such a moving target that, I mean, I went through Texas only about 2 months ago, but I had to stay south. I went from Beaumont to El Paso. I couldn't, you know, I went through San Antonio. I couldn't pop up. Well, I had to deadhead home to get home for something, and I made it. You know, I had another tour to do with James Lee Stanley for the record that we did of Led Zeppelin covers. And I had to get home to get to his place so we could rehearse for a day and then get out there. Really crazy busy time. Some fun personal stuff I'll tell you later, but you know, a lot of high points. And you know, above all, the ability to have a chance to experience it one more time. I'll tell a brief story. I was contacted by a friend about a year ago who was facing a grave illness, and who I found out 3 days ago passed away in September. But she had seen the story of me getting this van. She goes, I want to do something like that. And I just want to get out there on the road and taste life's beauty one more time. And I went, oh my God. And so Shane Alexander and I wrote a song called My Last Hurrah. You know, if this is my last hurrah, gonna pour it on till the wheels come off, you know, that kind of thing. And just, and taste life's beauty just one more time. This is what we're here for. If all we've got is time, you know, the choices we make to be one place instead of another, there is a sense of sacrifice when we're not able to be everywhere. But I move around, but and I'll get there. I'll get there. I'll give you the opportunity to say, good God, dude won't leave. Come on, dude. You know,
no, never.
Try Midland, you know, from here, Midland. It's not that
Your
far.
Midland's wonderful.
Exactly. Well, I mean, and I did on my way out on this trip, I had to stay north, but I was going to go through Colorado, and the roads are not great. So I stayed south and basically went from Scottsdale, Arizona to Amarillo in one go.
Oh, wow.
And then from Amarillo to Kansas City, and then Kansas City to Minneapolis, and then did the Sinatra show the next day. But all this is to say is I'm experiencing this country on the ground, learning a lot, Boy, am I
I
learning a
bet
lot.
you could write a, why don't you write a book? Do you ever want to write a book? I'm sure you,
Absolutely, without question.
okay.
And I'm
Yeah.
actually talked to somebody who is experienced at transcribing conversations and turning them into books. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's because the stories resonate in particular with this sort of the breadth and the depth and the width of this entire country and the wackadoodle experience we're having now. You know, some people who will not leave their houses and refuse to even open the door, and
Mhm.
others who are going, what? It's just the flu.
Right.
And they're, what are you so worried about? Let me shake, let me shake your hand. Yeah, dude, I don't think so. You know,
Yeah, I
it's
like a nice happy medium.
a
I'm not
happy medium is
driving in
really
my car. There's people with masks on driving their cars alone, and I have evolved throughout this. I will say. I mean, I was wiping down my grocery, when
sure.
all of it's like,
Yep.
sure, but even me, and I was raised to be an absolute germaphobe. Eventually I had a stepmother and who was completely OCD with germs. I knew how to successfully enter and exit a public restroom without touching anything with my flesh. By the age of 10, I was a pro. So I get it,
I'm
but
kind of the opposite, but
having kids helped me really calm that down, right? Because you let go of that control. But I see people driving their cars with masks on and they are alone. And
alone
I'm
in
just
their
like,
own cars.
tell me,
Catch
I
something
want to
from.
understand. I want to talk to that person.
Yeah, who are
Really.
you going to catch something from? Exactly. I get it when you get to the drive-through or you get to the drugstore or whatever. That I get. You know, I carry around masks. I got multiples here.
Yeah, of
I
course.
did
Yeah.
Nomad Dan Navarro face masks. No one wants them. I bought 600. I think I've got 580.
Do they look like you from here? Are they like, do they?
Dan, it's that Nomad Dan logo with the
Okay. It's your logo.
yeah, my logo thing with the license plate and
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
But I mean, but we're all learning something a little different. And so most recently, Omicron cropped up. My son got it, and he was staying with me. I picked him up in the car to give him a ride for him to give me a ride to my house. We rode in a car together. Stopped for coffee. Hey, Dad, you should really taste this Chipotle mocha. It's really good. And I drank off his cup. And he calls me the next day and he goes, I've got it.
Oh,
and I went,
man.
well, so I immediately went and got a test. And I got tests every day for a while.
Yeah.
Nothing. Didn't get it. He locked up himself. He isolated in my place. I was sliding his meals under the door.
Yeah.
A few days later, he's fine. I go on the road. I'd spent the day with a friend who had lost his girlfriend the night before. She had passed on unexpectedly. And the guy's manager came over and everything's fine. And 2 days later, I'm in Boston with the show the next day. And I got a phone call going, yeah, the manager tested positive. You hung out with him. Oh, shit. Canceled my first show on that trip I guess I've been home since then. Yeah, so it was that trip and tests every single day. I had tests on January 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 11th, 13th, 17th. And all negative, no symptoms, been exposed several times.
Yeah.
But I'm still going out there and going, right, got to mask up because,
yeah,
it's going to be what it's going to be. I don't believe it's overblown. I do believe we're at a stage, knock on wood, where if you're vaccinated and you get it, it's not going to be deadly.
Yeah.
And that seems to be bearing out. But I've still got friends. I mean, I've got a friend who I wanted to hire for a session going, I'm not doing anything in the studio. I said, well, I need a 3-voice group. Well, I'm not doing anything in the studio. You can send me my part. I need a 3-voice group in the room.
Yeah.
But I get it. That's their choice. I've got others who are just, well, we don't cotton to that. It's just the damn flu. But I've also known people who were vigilant about not taking some of the precautions, and they've died. It's happened to people I know.
Same. That happened early on for me. And so I think that formed my, kind of at the beginning, there were sort of like, okay, two kinds of people, like the people that had been impacted within their circle, and then the people that weren't. And so, it shaped my decisions for sure.
Well, and when I come to Austin, before I hug you, I'm going to dip my entire body in paraffin wax. So I'll be completely sealed, and then we'll just
Be
scrape it
like,
off.
can you just dip it in hug shape?
I can
So,
absolutely.
like-
Are you kidding? Oh, heck yeah.
So you can just,
Heck yeah.
I can just slide in there.
Exactly. That's the idea. That's the idea. Now, we've got to take care. I mean, I actually said something, Bob Lefsetz printed it, talking about people who are kind of like, whatever. And I go, you know what, man, I don't need anybody's permission to take care of myself. And, when this all happens, I'll wave to you guys from the finish line. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I won't. You'll be dead. I'm just not interested. It's we've got to get through this. I think we are getting through it. What I'm actually hoping, if the pattern holds, is that the next variant will just be a bad cold.
Yeah.
And if that because one of the different things with Omicron is everybody I know got it. I had one or two friends who got the first one. I had quite a few friends who got Delta. Everyone I know got Omicron. And so whatever happens with Zeta or whatever, Gamma or whatever's next,
Thor.
Thor. There you go. Exactly.
Thor.
Thor. It'll be different. I think we'll be masking for quite some time to come. I also think that we're going to learn how to live with this. We've learned how to live with measles. We've learned how to live with lots of things. Yeah. Oh, wait, that's right. Measles kind of went away because everybody got vaccinated. I grew up in the era of smallpox shots at school and polio shots at school, and they're gone. So I don't know. I just don't think health is a commie plot. I really don't, or a progressive liberal plot or whatever. I just think common sense. Although my common sense, I'm afraid, you said you grew up, with a germophobic stepmother. I grew up in an era where I drank from the hose and I would eat grapes on the first bounce. And, it was like, I don't know, it was what's going to happen. Maybe that's why I haven't gotten it. Maybe it's my immune system is.
Well, someone told me just yesterday or the day before, my common sense is not necessarily your common sense. And that is very true, No. But for all the greater good, there are definitely some common things we can do to help each other. So,
well, I think the common good is helping each other. That's what we do.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we help each other. I try not to do this.
Yeah.
Don't bother me. Don't get in
There's
my way.
Them.
It's us. It's all of us. And I don't have a problem with that. I can't help everybody. I'll try. It's not that hard. Yeah. What's my time for? I mean, I think at the end of the day, what's my time for? Is it to sit and count money? Is it to sit and recount every award or every great experience? You're too busy doing that. You're not having the experience.
Yeah.
A little like, I used to be the tourist who did everything through a camera lens, and my ex-wife, I said, you're not enjoying what's really happening because you're looking through a lens all the time. Yeah, you're right. I get it.
Good point.
Good point. I mean, I'm a dodo head. I'll admit it. And I've learned, and I'm still learning. I'm never going to stop learning. That's one of the lines in Horizon Line. The past is gone, but I'm still learning. So,
well, we love that you share that learning with us and that you put it in song and that you come on shows like this and we get to know you just a little bit by seeing you and hearing you and just getting a better sense of who you are. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. This is a gift to me, though, to get to see you and to get to be on your show.
Oh, well, thank you. It means a lot. Well, we're going to wrap here, but you have to come back when your album drops next. Well, not next year. This year, in the summer, late summer, perhaps. You'll have you.
I would love to, because like I say, there will be a lot going on. I'm having a big birthday celebration in Los Angeles in September. In August, the Grammy Museum is interviewing me with a career retrospective that I never thought I'd ever deserve.
Awesome.
And it's all surrounding the release of the record. So I will.
Okay, I will be looking for my invite to the big party. I will get on a plane and come out there.
Very cool. Very, very
awesome.
Cool. Can't wait to have you out.
Well, thank you again. That does it for another episode of the Austin Downbeat. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe wherever above. I'm not sure where I put the button.
Push the button.
And until
push the button, make you very happy. You do the downbeat, you push the button down, and then you wait a beat, and she come around and she tell you a good story. Do not forget.
Listen to him. Oh, to him.
Listen to that.
Mm.
All right. That'll do it. Bye, guys.